Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Star Trek Discovery Season 4, Episode 2. I actually have no idea what this is called, and I don't even feel like looking it up, because this episode pissed me off. And the reason why it pissed me off is because, it took me a while to watch it, because I've been so busy, and I have to now watch Episode 3, so I haven't even done that yet. But, what pissed me off was when I reviewed the episode 1, I actually praised this show to a certain degree. I mean, I still have problems with it, but it was still an enjoyable episode, which was very shocking because for the most part, I just don't like this show. But every once in a while, there is an episode that I actually do like in each season, you know what I'm saying? And so, what really got me about episode 1 was that they finally started listening to fans and started bringing in some old Trek type stuff. But then they kept the whole new Trek stuff in it too. That was kind of annoying, but whatever, it's still okay. But for the most part, it was an enjoyable episode because they took things in a direction I never expected them to do. And then in this episode, in the beginning, I was starting to like it until about Saru got on board Discovery and talked to Tilly. Then I started to get annoyed. Then I started to get annoyed throughout the entire rest of the episode to the point where I just got pissed off. Why? Because they went back to Discovery season 1 and 2 and all the other 3 and stuff like that. And it's just because they're still doing the same crap that they always do on the show that bugs me to death. And it's just I thought y'all was evolving. I thought y'all was trying to make y'all self more old Trek. I guess they just did that for the first episode to reel people in. But then I just started watching it and I'm just what am I watching? It doesn't even feel like Star Trek. And to tell you the truth, it doesn't even start to feel like new Trek for the most part. Because Star Trek Discovery has that certain vibe and tone to it. But now they took that and they took all the annoying parts and they just cranked it up by 1,000 to where it doesn't even really seem like new Trek for the most part. It just seems like new Trek and everything, but in a very annoying kind of way. And they cranked up the annoyance in the millions and stuff. And I was just I'm just so annoyed by this episode. All the dumb humor, all of the overacting. One thing I used to always say about this show is no matter how much I hate it, no matter how much I hate the writing, the direction, no matter how I hate the characters, I always like the actors and the actresses, the stars of the show and stuff like that. I never ever blamed them, for what I see on screen, because they have to be directed a certain way and told a certain way, but for the most part they were take Sonequa Martin Green. I first saw her in Once Upon a Time season 2, and then I saw her in The Walking Dead, and I've always been a fan of her acting until she got onto Star Trek, and her Trek acting is not very good. She talks super fast. She whispers when she talks. And then not only that, but she's always staring in a certain direction like she's a supermodel. I can't get my words out tonight. She's a supermodel and everything. In episode 1 of season 4, she kept tilting and turning her head and kept looking with this cutesy little look and everything. I'm just why is she modeling for the camera and stuff? And so for the most part, the only person acting I ever had a huge problem with was hers, because I know she knows how to act. I have seen her act before. I have heard her talk on other shows before, so I know she can deliver. I just never understood why she never delivers on Star Trek. But now I'm starting to have problems with other actors and actresses on this show. It's everybody is trying to act like Tilly now for some bizarre reason. Well, not everybody. The main cast, I should say, except for Saru. And when I say the main cast, I'm not talking about the bridge crew because they are like secondary actors and actresses to the show. They're like the bridge crew is pretty much like recurring characters. I say like the main people. I'm talking about like the doctor, Stamets, Stamets or Stamets, whatever his name is, Adira, um, somebody else. I think that's it. I think that's it. In terms of main cast, and so like. Um, yeah, everybody's like overacting now. Everybody's acting comedic now. Everybody's acting like they on Seinfeld now. And some people just like smile way too much and never stop smiling. And I'm just like, they're not acting like Trek. It's like, okay, take Tom Paris, for example. Tom Paris, after a couple of seasons, they started getting him doing this whole like retro thing where he was all about loving the past, like the 21st century, 20th century, 19th century, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And even though they had him say certain things that was slightly, they didn't really have him say like modern stuff, but they had him talk about modern stuff. Even when they did that, he still said it in a very Trek kind of way, and he did it in a very professional kind of way. Now it's just like they give these actors and actresses full range of how they want to act, and everybody's just trying to act comedic. Everybody's trying to act like Tilly for some reason. And I don't understand that. And so, like, there are a few things in this episode I did like, so I will touch down on that. So basically, this is what I'm going to do for this review. I'm just going to rush down what actually happened, and then I'm going to break it down individual things of what I liked and what pissed me off. Because I have now lost faith once again in this show, and I started to have faith in it just like in the first episode and everything. So basically what happens is this. There's Starfleet Command, and they're talking about the anomaly and talking about how they have to get like readings on it. And so Saru is back. Book is super depressed because his planet blew up and he's the last of his kind, supposedly. I don't think everybody's dead. Like, I'm just having a weird feeling. Like, what if it's like the Nexus thing, where everybody gets transported someplace, and all that crap, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm thinking, but who knows? But for now, they're dead. And so it's taking a toll on him. So they have to get some readings on the anomaly. They can't send a probe for some bizarre reason. I guess because a probe is too small and it'll break apart. And so they have to send in a ship. And books are like, let me, my ship can morph and blah, blah. And so like, Burnham doesn't want him to do that, but he tells her straight up, look, I ain't no Starfleet officer. You can't tell me what to do. So he goes in there with Stamets via hologram. And so, they fly the ship in there. There's like a huge anomaly, like gravitational wave, is knocking out the gravity in the ship. That was kind of interesting. I like that, but that's not. I'm gonna get to that later. And then so they figure out what's going on with the gravitational wave. They learn how to like surf it, and then so like they get the readings that they need, and then they come back to the ship, only to like discover that the anomaly seems to be like alive or something like that. It doesn't go on no like Pacific like natural like course that something in space would normally go. It actually changed its mind and decided to go in a different direction and follow like the ship and everything. And so that's basically it. And now I'm gonna get into the parts that I just liked and I really, really, really hated. Oh, I got a better example. Take Neelix and Quark. Those were very two non-Star Trek type characters who were very comedic and everything. But even though they were comedic and they were over the top at times, especially Neelix, they still acted more professionally than the stars of today on Discovery. Like what? Like the Neelix actor. Sometimes he will overdo it to where he became so cringy and annoying and everything. But when he wasn't doing that, he was still talking like regular Trek, and he was still acting like a professional actor. Then the actor who plays Quark. for the most part, he wasn't over the top, but it was like he still acted very professionally and he still had that Star Trek talking kind of way. And when I see characters like Tilly, Adira, Stamets and stuff, and whoever that engineer lady is, Teague or something like that. No, Jet Reno, I think her name is, who never really appears on the show, but yet she's supposed to be, I think their version of like the chief engineer or something like that, because they found her. And does this show even have a chief engineer? It's not even an engineering room be seen yet. But anyway, it's like they just act like they're they act like in any other show and stuff. They just act like over the top, very comedic, and no sign of professionalism at times. Only until they have a dramatic scene and they have to be like serious and stuff. Like Tilly, she had two major points in this episode. Actually three, and two of them bugged me, and one did not. The one at the end did not bug me because she actually talked it professionally. She actually talked like a Star Trek type person. And I'm just like, why can't they do that all the time with her? I cannot wait until I get to the part that I disliked about her because she drove me nuts with that voice that she started making, like she was some type of like Muppet on like Sesame Street. I'm just like, who in the world wrote that, or was it improvised? And I don't know if it was. Why did she have to make it so like Muppetly and stuff like that? Like, why in the world did they have her do that? That's like so annoying and dumb, and it's kind of like, I've said this before, Tilly is the worst character on Star Trek history and everything, because the Tilly character is basically like a woman child and everything. Like, she acts like a giant kid. And even Wesley was more like mature than she was and everything. Oh, especially Alexander. And whoever, Naomi from Voyager and stuff. And I'm just like, when the writers don't write the kids to be like kids, why are you writing a grown adult woman to be like a child? But like I said before, I'll get into that later. All right, let's start off from the beginning. The Starfleet command stuff. Why is Admiral Vance still on this show? Like, I don't really see the purpose in having him on the show anymore, or at least in the scenes that he has been in this season. It made sense for the third season because they were new to that time era, and you know, he was the one in charge of that area, and he had to see if they was on the up and up. But this season, he's appeared twice, and he's only had nothing more but a cameo and everything. Or just to like praise Burnham and talk about his family and have his cameo. So if they're not going to have him for anything significant, there's really no point in like having him in that episode. Also, that Ferengi, he is butt ugly. Look, I don't even want to hear it. I don't like the way they redesigned the Klingons, and I do not like the way they redesigned the Ferengi. Even though the Ferengi have always been like ugly, they was at least cute ugly. This thing is just ugly. And there's no reason to explain why it looks the way it does other than the costume designer to want to make them look like that. Because Ferengi have never changed in appearance since TNG. And then when they showed up in Enterprise, of course, they still use the same template for the Ferengi. So why did the Ferengi look like this? Maybe evolution? But there's no explanation. And the dude didn't even say nothing. So he was there just for shock value to be like, haha, look at this. We did it again. So if they did it to the Ferengi, then we know in the future that Klingons are still going to look the way they did in Discovery. So it doesn't matter what you see them as in Lower Decks, especially like the Klingons in Lower Decks look the same way a normal Klingon does. It doesn't matter because they letting people know, haha, look at this, we changed. So now, for Picard, I don't want to see Worf at all. In Picard, I don't want to see Quark at all because chances are their appearance are going to change. Also, that Vulcan lady, I saw a touch of emotion come from her. At least I'm pretty sure she's Vulcan. I'm pretty sure she's not Romulan. So if she is Vulcan, they need to tell that actress to be stiff. She needs to watch some older Star Trek stuff and see how to be Vulcan and stuff. Now, Saru being back. I love Saru being back. He's like one of my favorite, well, he probably is my favorite character on that show. I have now gotten used to his face, even though it's some heavy prosthetics. I am used to his face. I still am a bit confused as the race of his people, because they said in the first season that they was extinct, only to learn out, oh, they've been enslaved in the second season, and now they're alive and well in the third, and hanging with the their villains and stuff. So it's kind of like, okay, but why say that in the first season if you're just gonna bring them in the second? But I am happy to see Saru. He is the most Star Trek out of everybody on this show. Not just from his like appearance, but just the way he talks. He talks Trek. That man gets it. I think his name is like Doug Jones, something like that. That man gets it. And you know, and I'm so glad that not only does he get it, but he's doing it for the fans and stuff. Cause he knows, that man knows, trust me. I was on Twitter, and this was when the first season came out, and I can't remember what I said, cause I said so much, but I said something about I don't like this show, I wish it would go back to the old ways, and blah, 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 stuff like that. He actually liked my comment. And so, like, yeah, he gets it. He gets that they did what they wanted to do with this show and screwed up the franchise and stuff. And he gets it that they're passionate fans that love the older stuff. So the man gets it, you know what I'm saying? Now, him stepping down as captain and becoming Burnham's first officer, I do not like that. I still think Burnham has a lot to grow when being a captain. She might be smart and strong and everything, and brave, but I don't think she's that great of a leader. And not only that, but a lot of people agree he is the best part of Star Trek Discovery. He was a cool captain and everything. And not only that, but he's the first alien to ever be the captain of a televised Star Trek show. That is history in the making. And they should have kept it that way. But then they changed it because, of course, it has to be the Michael Burnham show. And we all knew at some point she was going to be captain. But they should have waited till like the last season or the last episode to make her captain, I think. You know, it just would have made more sense. And then so to take that away from him, I just think that's crummy. And I do not like that at all. The scene between him and Tilly. Okay, I will admit. Yeah, something about this dude looks different. I don't know what it is. Like, even I will admit to that. And like, something about him looks different. But I don't like the way in which she said it in her goofy, Tilly kind of way. Like, people have said things similar to that before. B'Elanna has said things similar to that. Guinan has said similar stuff like that. But they said in that very professional Star Trek way and not in a comedic way. Tilly, I don't know why they write her as the comedic relief. Not only that, but I'm tired of her cussing. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like, because young people love Star Trek too. And a lot of parents don't want their kids hearing curse words and stuff. Like, that's one reason why a lot of kids are not allowed to see adult stuff. They're not allowed to see cursing and sex and nudity and all this violent stuff. And so it's like, some parents probably won't even let their kids watch this stuff because Tilly is constantly throwing out S-bombs and F-bombs and all this other stuff. But like, I'm so tired of her being comedic. I want her to be professional. They keep trying to build her to be like one of the best Starfleet officers ever, who is like rising in the ranks to the point of last season she was acting commander, first officer and stuff. And so it's like, even though she's a lieutenant, she's still one of the like the highest like people on the show. And it's just kind of like, you know, she's so goofy. I do not like the way she acts. Like, well, I do like the way she acts because she is a funny person. Like, that's the one thing I said. Like, I like the actress a lot. I really like the actress, and I think she's funny. She needs to be in a sitcom, but I don't like how they write her and how she acts on Star Trek. Like that part at the end when she started getting a little bit serious, I'm like, okay, that was great. But then towards the very end of that conversation, she literally made her Cookie Monster voice like, I'll see you later. I'm just like, no. He's a commander now. You discipline her. You don't make her talk like that. That's just stupid. And I hate when they make her do that. She did that last season when the bad guys captured the ship and stuff. And they just need to write her to be more mature. She is a Starfleet officer. But when you think about it, she's really nothing more but a cadet. Because that's how the first season was. And then second and third, like, skipped ahead so fast. And she rose to the rank so fast. But she's really nothing more but a cadet. I do like seeing the holo technology in Burnham's like ready room, and I'm glad we actually finally get to see what the ready room actually looks like, you know, because we didn't get to see that in the first episode, even though she was technically in the room with the president. And I don't mind it being called a holo because, you know, so much time has passed and there's not really a holo deck. It just has holo emitter, so that was kind of cool and stuff. I wish she would have picked a place different than like the Vulcan place, but you know, she loves Vulcan so much. You know, she really doesn't talk about Vulcan no more. So, but yet she still loves it and stuff. So I kind of wish she would like just would have showed us something different, you know, than what we've seen before. Now, the ship computer being sentient. This, of course, is tying into that short trek Calypso. Now, speaking of short treks, were there any for a third season revolving around like I don't remember. I remember there was two separate short treks for season 1 and season 2 of Discovery. But I don't remember there being none for number 3. Anyway, so of course this is like a little tie into the whole Calypso thing, and now the computer has given herself a name, and so of course. This is the biggest controversial plot hole ever because the ship is the wrong color and stuff like that. So, but you know, they can just easily you easily get past the whole color thing. But of course, the ship is supposed to be abandoned, and it's supposed to be in a nebula, I believe, a nebula or a far part of space, far from Earth and everything. And so, like, it makes you now wonder when exactly are they going to do that? Could it get sucked into like that little black hole anomaly thing that's been going on this season? Who knows? I think what they really should do is at the end of this season, not this season, but like, or the end of the series, whenever this show's ever going to be canceled, because it's not getting canceled no time soon. So like, whenever it does get canceled, they need to address that short trek episode. For some whatever reason, the ship needs to go back to its original form, because now it's been retrofitted, you know what I'm saying, and it needs to go back to its original form, the original way it looked somehow, and it needs to just be abandoned and boom, go far away to explain that episode, and explain it in detail. So that would be nice, because this thing is always going to be the biggest plot hole in the entire series. Now, the whole Gray stuff with the android, I have to say, they are rushing the crap out of this Gray storyline only because they don't have anything for him. And so, that's one thing that's been bugging so many fans when it comes to like this whole Trill thing. It's like, okay, Trill, if they do like a ritual, they can see their past like hosts and stuff like that. And they can call all of them at the same time, or a certain group. Or just one. And so Adira never did that. And they never explained why Adira can see Gray. Now everybody on the ship knows she can see him, but they don't explain how or why. And you think that would be a mystery. And with the whole holodeck technology, that on that Kelpian ship, somehow it made Gray become like sentient and stuff. And not only did it do that, but it changed his appearance, made him a different alien. This could have been the coolest revelation in this entire series if they would explain that correctly, but they didn't. They just glossed over and said, you'll forget all about that. But here, we'll give him an android body. Since they can do holograms and stuff now, why don't they give him a holographic body? That way, he'll be able to go certain places that other members of the ship crew can't. You know what I'm saying? And also in like certain atmospheres and stuff. However, this whole android thing, which of course they're still calling Siths, and a Sith is even more than what was her name from Picard? Dodge was the sister that blew up, and I forget the other one name. But it's more than just the organic, like metal type stuff or the golem thing. Because you remember they had them Siths that destroyed Mars and everything, and those were just straight up androids. And so of course they want to tie this into Picard. They love tying things into Picard and stuff like that. And this is what I don't get. How did Dr. Hugh make this thing? He's not an engineer. He's just a doctor. You know what I'm saying? Like, how did he make this thing? And so it would have made sense if Stamets, well, he's a science officer, not him. What's her name? Jet Reno. She should have made that. She's an engineer, for crying out loud. But she hasn't really been on the show, I don't think, at all since like it started. Or they should have just brought in an engineer from Starfleet Command and have them make the thing instead of the doctor. How did the doctor do it? That don't make no sense. If he's able to do that and make it correctly, then he should be the smartest person on the ship and be able to fix stuff. And I still don't know why they call them Siths. I still think it's because of Google. They have like the trademark on Android, so they probably don't want nobody using that. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know for sure, but that's what I'm assuming. You know what I'm saying? And so what? So that's kind of cool now that Gray can like be walking around in I guess the metal flesh or whatever. But this don't make no sense. He's all like, I could probably be a host again. I don't understand how, and he's a robot. And not only that, but so now we know for a fact, because the doctor said that the success rate of doing this is very rare. So that means, of course, now after Picard season 1, if you think you're gonna have like a whole like generation of like androids and them being like sentient beings, then you guess wrong, because it's a low success rate. And after Picard, barely anybody was able to survive that procedure. So somehow they're gonna put Gray inside the android body. I have a question. Why not just make a clone? I mean, other races and like other Star Trek shows have made clones, so why not make a clone? That would have been like a whole lot better and stuff. I'm trying to think something else. Speaking of the host, it does make you wonder, because like, say they do give him a host for the they make him a host for the symbiote, like another symbiote, right? Or symbiote, or whatever you call it. The true people are probably gonna be pissed. Remember how they treated Adira in the season 3? They called her all kind of names. They called her a monster, a beast, abomination, all this other stuff, and hurt her feelings. So if you put that symbiote in an android, they really gonna be pissed. But here's my thing about that whole thing. I never did ever address the whole like Trill thing in season 3. That was a bit overkill when they treated Adira like that. And it was written to be overkill for one reason only. Now, Trill, for the most part in Star Trek, have always been pretty friendly people. There's rarely you ever see a mean one, and if they're mean, they're not that mean, you know what I'm saying, to call somebody that type of despicable name, but they do have attitudes. But you think they would understand, since the symbiote was dying, and the symbiote needed a new host. Plus, you know, a human has had a symbiote in them before. Riker did, and they treated him friendly. The only reason why that is because it's who Adira is played by. I'm trying to get this right. The actress was born a man, became a transgender woman. And so the writers wanted to reflect how transgender people are treated in society in today's time, where they get called names and they are bullied and they are harassed and they are raped and they are murdered, and they like when a group of men would see one, they would harass and beat the snot out of one. Same thing with cops and everything. And so it's like they wanted to show that, and I get that. That was like a teaching moment. But here's the thing. It doesn't make sense for the Adira character, because Adira is just a regular girl and stuff. She's not like a transgender person. So I think what they probably should have done was probably make Adira transgender and everything. That's what they really should have done. If they really want to have like a transgender like awareness type thing, then they could have had something like that. But to have the Trill be so despicable and mean in that one little scene, when we know just how friendly they are, that was really like overkill in my opinion and stuff. Speaking of Adira, Adira is getting on my nerves. I don't know what the deal with Adira is, but the last season she was pretty cool. And in this season, like she's jittery, she's nervous, and she's frantic, and she stumbles in her words, and she's always like erratic and everything. And it's very distracting because the actress is overselling the performance and it's making it even more annoying. And I'm just like, why are they turning her into Reginald Barkley and everything? It's like I almost called him Barley. I think I did from what they used to make fun of him. But Barkley and everything. Why are they turning her into him? See, the thing about him is that he was in just an okay character for whatever scenes he was in TNG. If they would have kept him full time, it would have been a full time member of like the show. He would have got on everybody's nerves, and he would have got on my nerves. You can only take him in small doses, you know what I'm saying? And so I don't understand why they turning her into him. Like, that's getting very annoying because she's supposed to be a child prodigy, and they made her a Starfleet officer with no training whatsoever. Clearly, she needs training because, like, she's getting scared out on the field, and whenever something's hitting the ship, she gets scared. So, with all that knowledge, because a lot of her past hosts are Starfleet officers and everything, so it's like you think that she would have a little bit more like nerves of steel, but they don't. What they really need to do, since Starfleet Academy has reopened back up, they need to put her there, just like they did Wesley. Take her off the show, put her in Starfleet Academy, have her come back as a real officer and real like nerves of steel, because this whole jittery like nervous crap is getting on my nerves. And because the actress is still new to acting, she's overselling big time, almost like a Disney channel star. You know how they kind of like oversell kind of stuff? That's how I feel with this, and it's getting kind of annoying. Now, as for the Doctor, he's okay for the most part. I've always never had a problem with him. His dialogue always been good. Towards the end, when he was talking to Tilly, he was kind of overdoing it in that comedic kind of way, and it's just kind of like, you know, I'm tired of comedy in the show. But for the most part, he's always been a good character, a good actor. He had some really good emotional stuff in season 2 when he came back from the dead. And so ever since he came back from the dead, they really don't give him nothing to do. And that's kind of getting on my nerves. Like, for the most part, he has the same problem Book does. And the thing is about the Doctor, he's only there to be Stamets' husband, and that's literally it. Like, that's it. Like, he does a couple of medical stuff. Like, he does less medical stuff on the show than Beverly does, and we all know how little screen time she got. And but I've actually nicknamed him Dr. Smiley, because this dude smiles like a lot. And he has a great smile, but he just needs to like chill with all that smiling. You know, I'm not used to seeing that much smiling in Star Trek since like Deanna and stuff. Now, I will say his tool that he uses, his medical tool, it's the same one from the first episode. What exactly is that thing? At first, I assumed it was a tricorder because it read that one dude's vital signs that he was dead. But then now in this episode, it's like a thermal regenerator. So is it a tricorder and a thermal regenerator? Like, it can literally heal a person's wounds and stuff like that. And so it's just kind of like they need to explain kind of what that tool is, because they just now made it do two completely different things. And but it could be like it could be like the communication it could be like the comm badge and everything, where it's like a communicator, a transporter, and a tricorder. So why does he have a handheld tricorder? So I don't get that. But other than that, he's okay. Speaking of his character counterpart, let's talk about Book. He thought I probably gonna go to Stamets, but no, because like I said before, like he has the same role as Book. And what is Book's role? To be Michael Burnham's boyfriend, and that's it. So it's like I actually really enjoyed Book this episode. It's the first time I've ever really enjoyed this character. Sometimes when he does his spiritual holy stuff and like the animal stuff, that's pretty cool. The stuff between him and his brother really didn't go nowhere. They had like animosity at first, then they patched things up, then they really patched things up only for the brother to die. And so like I really liked how he showed such range of emotion, like, 'cause the dude's a really good actor and stuff. But and I really loved how like the destruction of like his planet really caused him to like just be like reserved, and he didn't want to talk to nobody, and he was grumpy. Like he actually had a reason to be grumpy other than most people in season one. And so it's like that was really nice and refreshing to see from his character, other than him just playing boyfriend to like Michael Burnham and everything. And I love the conflict between those two. And so when he was very adamant about going into that nebula, basically he just wanted to commit suicide and everything. And also he wanted to like, discover what this thing is and what killed his like planet. But if he couldn't discover that, then at least he gets to go out suicide kind of wise. And so he was very determined about that. And so Burnham knew that and didn't want him to go. But like he told her straight up before, you can't tell me what to do because I'm not even under your command. I'm not even a Starfleet officer. And so I really like that. Now, one thing that does confuse me about him is that when we see the spore drive stuff, we don't never really see him use it no more. And we know he can use it. Also with that, you think people in Starfleet would have recruited some of his alien race so that when they duplicate that spore drive, but they didn't. But one thing that confuses me about him, I assumed he would be like the Neelix character. He would be there to show the Discovery crew everything in like the 32nd century because everything has now changed, you know what I'm saying? And Neelix was the guy to the Delta Quadrant because they was from the Alpha Quadrant and they was lost. So why doesn't he take more of that role? Because other than that, he's only on the ship just to make out with Burnham and do stuff with her, you know what I'm saying? And so it's kind of like he's pointless on the show and he's pointless for the crew because he's just like a boyfriend who doesn't serve no purpose other than just being a boyfriend. So it would make more sense if he was like a diplomat or like an ambassador or some type of thing, or like no, that's a little too high ranking. A guide, like just a guide around like that time era, you know what I'm saying? Now the stuff on the bridge I did like. I loved again how the bridge crew got to talk and got to do stuff. That was really great. I'm also happy that now Commander Chase, is it? The communication officer, he finally gets to say and do something. I think in all 4 seasons, the man has never really said nothing other than the generic say yes or all right type stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, but he actually got to contribute. But here's my problem with that. He's a communication officer. How in the world was he able to figure out how the gravitational distortion waves were formed and how to surf them and everything? He's not that smart. He shouldn't be that smart. He's only a communication officer. That would be like if, do you remember when Diana, the ship, like, basically got hit by something and it turned itself off and she couldn't communicate with the rest of the ship and she had to take command of the ship and she didn't know what the world she was doing, and everybody else, even a chief petty officer, had to like tell her what to do and what certain things were. So that's so he's basically like her. He shouldn't know that much, you know what I'm saying? So you think it should have been Stamets or like Adira or like Tilly to figure that out, but no, it was him. And that was only because he had to have his moment because he's never done nothing on the show. And then this is the part I did not like. Well, I did like that he finally did something. I just don't like what he did because he shouldn't be able to be that smart. Also, what I did not like is how everybody cheered him on, like, woohoo! And they just started clapping. I'm like, are you not Starfleet officers? Are you not a bridge crew? You don't do that. Never in the history of Star Trek have they ever done that on the bridge of all things. That was just like so unheard of. And of course, they're so modern and they're written so modern. It's jarring and everything. Like, why no other Starfleet captain would have allowed them to do that? Maybe clap. Like if somebody got a promotion, like Tom got his promotion back, but that's about it. And so for them to do that, all because it was weird. It was weird because all he did was figure something out. They figure stuff out all the time, and nobody cheers for them. So it was just an awkward moment. It was so awkward. And not only that, but he's back already. Like, what happened to the other guy? Why did he miss the first episode? Like, that doesn't make no sense. It's like, and then of course the actor, when he did get applause, the look on his face, he's like, yes, I finally got to do something on the show. I finally got to say something. Like that was a real moment right there. That wasn't like acting. And it's like, it was just an awkward thing. So it was just, ugh, it was so weird. So other than him getting his weird moment, and the two females at the helm and the ops got to like say their stuff. That's the only part of the bridge stuff I like. Also, with them floating up in the air, getting hit by the gravitational wave. That was cool. Everything else on the bridge, I hated. Now let's get into why I hated this stuff on the bridge. First thing, the doctor had no business being there because Michael said we need you on the bridge in case somebody gets hurt, blah blah, stuff like that. If that's true, then shouldn't he be in sick bay? Because, people was bleeding from the mouths when they went up in the air and crashed down and everything. So if they're doing that on the bridge and bleeding in the mouths, then just think about the rest of the ship with all those pointy objects and stuff. And so he should be in sick bay in case somebody comes in with a broken arm, a busted up head, because, that makes more sense. So I don't really see the point of him being on the bridge. What is it? I did not understand why there was flames shooting out like a flamethrower. Like, I understand Sparks. Sparks is very well known in Star Trek. I don't understand the flames, and how they came out was weird. It was literally like a little flame throwing machine that just like, and I'm just like, why is that fire coming out for, and stuff. And so I did not understand that. Let's see. Oh, I did not like how Michael Burnham saved the day once again. I am tired of that. Like, I thought for sure Book and Stamets were gonna save the day, but no, it was Michael Burnham again. And so it was Michael Burnham who apparently now they have like these little holographic shield pod things that go around like the captain's chair so they can have a private conversation, but it can't be that private because Stamets was still able to hear everything on Book's ship. So he heard exactly what Michael told him. And so also with this little holographic pod thing, it's like, why didn't she just go in her ready room? That's what every other captain does. But no, because they needed her on the bridge because she's the lead actress and stuff. But so she gives him the pep talk so that he can have the courage and everything to save the day. Shouldn't that been Saru? Because think about it. Saru in the first season thought his entire planet was gone. Like the people on there was gone. Until he found out towards the end of the second season. So he should have been the one to get that pep talk and everything instead like, I understand where you're coming from. I thought my people was dead and everything, and your people are. I know that pain of having to be the only person left in space. But no, they gave it to her. And then the part that was even more outrageous, okay, after Tilly and Adira did their comedic crap again to figure out what was going on with the gravitational waves and how to surf it and everything. This part was a little bit confusing because I didn't know really what was going on because Michael Burnham or Sonequa Martin Green, she whispers and she talks really fast. So I think what it is that it's gonna hit the ship first and it's gonna hit them. And so like, if they can write it out first and they can tell the book ship how to like maneuver too. So the programmable matter, which by the way, did they come up with that name or did fans come up with it? Because I don't think they called it anything in season 3. I know lots of people, especially Nitpicking Nerd, came up. I first heard him call it that, and then next thing you know, they started calling that in season 4. And you know, them Star Trek people who make the show love watching those videos and getting angry at the fans and stuff. But anyway, the programmable matter came on her console near her chair, and she was able to write it out with her fingers and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, why her? Shouldn't that been Detmer job? Like, she's the con officer, for crying out loud. If anybody's gonna surf those waves, it should be her. You know what I'm saying? And because she's supposed to be like a pilot. Not only that, but Burnham keeps saying, "Oh, she can't do it because she's not that she doesn't know how to do it and blah 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 blah, and she's so new to this." Do you not recall she flew Book's ship in season 3, and she had no idea what she was doing, but yet she was able to fly his ship and everything? So apparently she's well equipped to do stuff like that. But no, Michael had to be the one to save the day and everything. And so I'm tired of that. I'm tired of her saving the day. I'm tired. I'm tired of it. Okay? Like, it ruins the show big time when it's only one person and one person only who does every single last stinking thing. And that is not what Star Trek is supposed to be about. It was similar to that in the original series because Kirk and Spock, they went everywhere and did everything. But then by the time they got into Next Generation, they realized that formula is not going to work. And the only reason why that formula worked for the original series is because of the time era they was in. And the time era is basically like you had like the main hero and his sidekick, 2 men who just did everything. And that's what they emulated in the original series. So it made sense for like a but it doesn't make sense now, you know what I'm saying? So I'm really tired of her doing everything. Now the programmable tether thing, I kind of like that. That's cool. You know, I mean, in the 32nd century, so they need some high tech. So it's basically just a tractor beam, but just the programmable matter. So I don't have a problem with that, even though it does look a little weird at times. But you know, it makes sense because with the one thing about what the thing called the tractor beam is kind of like you can't really maneuver very well with that thing, and it's only on one part of the ship. So the tether thing makes a lot more sense. So I like that. Now I will say it was interesting to see Book and Stamets together because you don't really never see them together. I don't think they ever had a scene together, and that's something that's been bugging me a lot. Now the ending I loved because the ending has Saru and Tilly, and it didn't end with like Michael Burnham. And then we get to figure out a little bit more about the anomaly thing. I love the way it ended because they matured Tilly in that one moment. Like, she came in like a Starfleet officer. She didn't run like she did before on the bridge over and over. She just came in and she was very mature. She wasn't making jokes. She wasn't trying to sound like the Cookie Monster voice that she does. Like, she came in very professionally, and she told Saru what was going on with the anomaly. And he was being like, and she went to him. I was surprised she went to him because he's the commander. But anyway, this is why he needs to be captain. So anyway, And she comes to him and she tells him about the anomaly. I loved all that stuff that happened. Also, it's kind of curious now what's going on with this anomaly. Apparently, it's alive and everything because it decided it's not going to go a natural course like a natural phenomenon in space. No, it decided to change its mind and go in whatever direction it wanted to and stuff. And so, like, that's a big mystery right there. This thing is now alive, which is something. There have been sentient beings in space before in Star Trek, so this is kind of cool. They redid this again, and I loved also how it ended with the wormhole. Everything, not wormhole, but like the anomaly, the little black hole thing. Everything just kept getting like sucked into it, and then it had this cool Star Trek music. Um, that was cool. Also, something else I liked about this season. I'm finally starting to like the intro. Um, I've never really liked their intro before because it's the most non-Star Trek thing ever. It's kind of like Enterprise when they kept singing in their intro, but at least the intro made sense of them like showing how space has like evolved and space travel and stuff like that. So their intro made sense for Enterprise. The music did not. And then with Discovery, their music makes sense, but their like actual intro never made sense. But this is actually kind of acceptable. I'm getting used to it. Like it's all right. Um, so that was kind of cool. Now something else that's been bugging me is okay. They're in the 32nd century. The ship has been retrofitted to fit that of a ship of that time. So, with that said, why does the ship still makes that noise from a TOS era? Like, you know, the music, you know, the calm panels and stuff, that the noise they make, it makes that noise from like, you know, the Star Trek, the original series. Why? I don't understand that. Why is it still making that noise if they retrofit the entire thing? Shouldn't it make a 32nd century like noise? Which, by the way, what does that sound like? We don't know. They don't know. That's why they didn't do it. I remember when Voyager had ships from like the 29th century, relativity, it made a cool noise and everything, you know, the comm panels and stuff. And it let people know that, hey, this is from a different time era. So why can't they do that here and everything? So that's pretty much my gripe with this entire episode, and it was just one thing after another that just kept bugging me to death, and I couldn't get past the bugging and everything. And it's just like it reminded me of the new Trek stuff from like Discovery, and it's just like I thought they was going in a different direction. I thought they were trying to blend the two, but now they're just like doing their own thing again, and it's just really bugging. I'm hoping the third episode's better, because I'm really am getting to the point where I'm just gonna stop watching this show. I mean, I stopped watching Lower Decks. I've been holding out for this show as long as I can because I just want this to be Star Trek and improve. And I thought it was improving just to be tricked. And so, like, yeah. Alrighty. Well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.